Oh,
What?
oh, OMG.
What's happening?
You're trending on Twitter.
Am I?
You're a hashtag. Oh, oh, oh no. Oh no, this is horrible.
What?
Disgusting. Oh, they hate you.
Who?
Thanks, everybody.
Hi.
Chris, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations on your book.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
It's in the green room. I said
It's-
sixth book, and you kind of corrected me. What
it's
number?
number I'm not sure. Gosh, I feel like a parent with like a lot of kids. Fifth in the series, but I think it's my 8th or 9th published book. So
That is incredible.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah,
That is
yeah,
incredible.
Thank you.
26 years old. You're 26.
26. I'm the big. I just turned the big 26.
You just turned the big 26, and you have this many published books. Have you had a quarter-life crisis at all, or are you good? Are you just sort of coasting what most people would have as a quarter-life crisis?
Life is a constant quarter-life crisis for me. Yeah, and it's funny. I still think like, oh God, I wish I could have done more by this age. I really do. I feel bad about it.
At this point, after Glee is finished and you are this much of a writer, you're writing this much, you're publishing this much, do you consider yourself an actor as much anymore, or do you consider yourself more of a writer?
Oh gosh, I just consider myself mentally insane. I don't know. I think I just this sounds so cliche and awful, but I think I just consider myself a storyteller, because I think storytelling is what is my true passion, and in any form that I get to do that in, I'm happy to do it.
Well, that's right. You write screenplays as well, right?
I do. It's my little side hobby. Yeah.
They all have to, in some ways, feel like side hobbies because you're doing so many things. Or are the books, The Land of Stories, are those the sort of main focus on a day-to-day basis?
Well, they certainly are now, for sure. It's funny because when I started writing, it was, acting was my main job, and writing was just kind of like my side hobby, and now it's kind of completely reversed, and now like the book series is my number one job, and the acting projects are my side gigs.
What's your process as a writer? Do you, now that it's become your number one job, is it something that like every morning you wake up 5 hours dedicated to writing? Or is it something that's a little more kind of if I get the ideas, I'll write. If not, I'll hang out and try to wait for an idea to come to me?
Oh gosh, I wish I had a process, but I have such severe ADD that I could never, like, I don't know if I could really force myself to do it 9 to 5. I'm always like squirrel, and then I can't write. But if I ever have like writer's block, I don't force myself to write, because I think when you force yourself to write, it only makes it that much worse.
So in this book, in book 5, we have the twins sort of going into Connor's original stories rather than the stories that they've been consistent, the fairy tales that they've been sort of running through in the past few books. Where did you get this idea to sort of travel into the stories that a child would write? We now have a child traveling through his own sort of stories.
Well, it was many things. It was always my dream as a kid to go into my own stories, but mostly from my experience as a screenwriter. Because I think screenwriting is unlike any other writing. Because 1 minute you are at your computer creating a character, and then the next minute they're living and breathing right in front of you. And I thought that would be such an amazing element to bring to the series. And every single story that Connor in the book writes and travels into were also stories that I wrote as a kid. So that's where
all of these stories, the Ziblings and a few of the others, these are all stories that you wrote as a kid.
Yeah, the Ziblings, Starbordia, Blimp Boy.
There's such great titles for like a children's book. They're the exact kind of titles a child would write, like the Ziblings instead of siblings, because you're a child.
Yeah,
change one letter.
Yeah, and I was his age and younger when I came up with them. So I'm glad it fits.
So this is something that you have the last 4 books, and then this idea come. How did this idea come to you? At what point in the writing process of the other books did this come?
Well, it started off as just one book, and then it did well. So I did a second one, and then they kept doing better and better. And my original plan was just to do 4, but then I was so horribly depressed at the end of I think writing the third one.
Why is that?
I love the characters so much. They're I don't know. They're just like they're my imaginary friends that I've always had in my head.
So like depressed from possibly leaving them.
From leaving them and not getting to spend time with them, and coming up with ridiculous things for Red to say, and then for Goldilocks to put her in her place, and it was like almost like postpartum depression a little bit. So I convinced my well, it wasn't a hard convincing, but convinced my publisher to do 2 more, and then the plan changed from 4 books to 5 books, and then at the end of the 4th book, I was starting to feel it again, and so I decided to split the 5th book into 2 separate books, which I'm so glad I did because I had so much material for just the first half of the book. It became a nice book itself.
So there's another version of a second part of this 5th book coming?
Yes, and that'll be the 6th book, and that'll be the final book in the series. I promise.
You sure?
Well, I never say never, but I think for now, I think it'll
They
have a
could
nice
pass
ending.
the torch to another child throughout
They
the story.
They could. Yeah.
You could write them as, I'm pitching now, this is great.
Yeah.
They could become parents and have their own kids that they give the storybook life to.
Absolutely, and I think you might have nailed what I have planned.
My fault, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. No, it's
Spoiler
good.
alert.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great, but I think the 6th one will be it'll wrap up the current series, and then I could always revisit that. A dragon could come into the mix or something. Who knows?
So why children's books? How did that come to you? Were you always, even when you were acting in Glee, or before that, before you were a published author and you were just a writer, were you writing children's stories?
Yes, and I think I went to children's books mostly because I get to write my reading level, really. So that's a plus. I love the escapism of children's books, and had it not been for Harry Potter, had it not been for Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland and the Narnia books, and the Young Jedi series, when I was a kid, to take me away from some unfortunate things that happened in my childhood, I don't know how I would have survived. So I love the fact that now that I'm older, I'm able to add to that world and give kids an escape. Nowadays we definitely need one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, when you decided to actually become a published author, to write these books, you were already starring on Glee. It was 2010, 2011 that you. What was that like for you, pitching yourself to publishers or to your agents and saying, okay, look, I'm a writer. I want to also be a published author. And were they at all like, no, you're an actor on this show, Glee. We're making some good change off of that. I don't think so. Or were they very supportive right off the bat and saw your writing and saw the sort of where it could fit in the marketplace?
Well, sometimes I feel like I'm still fighting that. I think I'm still fighting off that stigma. Because originally what came to me was, it was so strange because I always told myself that the Land of Stories was not something that I would necessarily spearhead for myself, but like if an opportunity ever came to me, that's when I knew it would be the time to do it. And after, thanks to a bunch of my success on Glee, a lot of people wanted me to do an autobiography, and I was like 19 at the time, so I didn't want to be that guy.
Chris Colfer, my story.
Right, so far. Right.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah. ... I
mean,
think that's actually the title of Kelsey Grammer's book.
Is it really?
I think it's My Life ...
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think at 19 I didn't want to be giving anyone advice of how to live their life. Like I'm still working on my motor skills, for goodness sakes. So when those like phone calls started coming in, I was like, oh, maybe this is the right opportunity to do that kids series, and of course people were skeptical at first. Here's this young kid who thinks he can write a children's chapter book, not just like a 15-page picture book, but a full chapter book. So I had to write about the first half of the book first to kind of convince people that I could write, and I was very adamant that I did not want to have a ghostwriter. I didn't even want to humor the idea of having someone in and come in and put their own words in my mouth. So it was hard, but I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it when I was young, because even though I was like 20 at the time, now that I'm 26, I don't think I would have the confidence to do it.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think the older you get, the more you kind of get a more of a, again, not bitter taste, but just more of a realistic taste, or I don't know. I think there's a lot of ignorance and courage that comes when you're young, and there's so many.
Time, your idea of time management and what it takes to do these things.
And like, oh, of
doesn't
course I
even
can.
matter.
Yeah, of
I'll
course
do
I can
that.
write
I'll
a
stay up
book
for
and-
6 days and I'll write this book. It's
right.
fine. And now that you're 26 and you've done that, you're like, I will monitor my time perfectly so that I don't have to stay up for 6 days to write this book.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think you get to know yourself a little bit better, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's not a good idea. And I'm so glad I did it because otherwise I don't know if I would have had the courage to do it later in life.
Now, when it comes to, have you thought about, or have you written, excuse me for not knowing, as I said, I think your Wikipedia is off in the books that you've written. Have you thought about writing adult literature at all, or more adult stories? That sounds like erotic fiction of some kind, but you know, adult has gotten co-opted in the entertainment world, but you
And
know what I
stories
mean.
after dark. I could do 50 Shades of Red. Yeah, I think it would. There's a lot of things that I get nervous. I get so nervous because it's like even when I find out that adults are reading my books, I'm like, really? You're reading them? If you, even if you're older than 16, I don't know. I think I'm very very shy when it comes to writing. So
Well, a book is also so much different than a movie in the sense that if you wrote the screenplay, at the end of the day, when the movie is finished being made, if it doesn't go the way that you had hoped or a lot of people had hoped, you wrote the screenplay. You didn't make the movie.
right. There's always someone else to blame, which is
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
When
yeah.
it's a book, though, you are the author.
The
You are the
author,
name.
right? You're the only person to blame. You can only blame yourself, and I kind of like that though. I really like having that. I like having the hands on the wheel when it comes to creativity.
Now, we're talking about your book, but we saw a clip to start this interview, a clip from you in the AbFab movie, which is unbelievable that it got made. And incredible that you got to be a part of it. Congratulations.
So much. It could have been my Make-A-Wish. Really, it could have been.
How did it happen?
I was on the Glee tour in 2010, and I didn't know anyone in London. So when we stopped in London, I reached out to Jennifer Saunders, who's always been a hero of mine, and I've been obsessed with with AbFab since I was a little kid. And I just reached out and asked if she wanted to come to the show, and she did. And I met her backstage, and we became friendly, and she sent me a message one day saying that she was going to do a movie, and I had to be in it, and I, peed my pants on the spot, and tried to act as cool as possible. Even though my heart was on a trampoline as soon as she said it. And the next thing I know, I when Glee was over, I got a call saying they were going to shoot it, and it happened, and I'm so thankful. I mean, it's really.
How long ago was this shot?
This was shot last November. Okay. Last November, yeah. But so it took about from the time that I met her to the time that I was on set with her, it was probably a good 4 years. Wow. Yeah.
And that's generally the case with movies, though. It takes a while.
I guess. Oh yeah, yeah. There's always it takes a lot of time. Yeah.
You have done Glee, and you've been in a few movies. You've been in AbFab, and you another movie that you wrote and executive produced and starred in. It seems to me that for the most part, you like to generate your own material that you're a part of, or at least you're just too busy generating your own material to be sort of a part of a lot more projects. Is that true?
A little bit of both, yeah. No, I mean, I love nothing more than creating something and then really bringing it to life myself. I love that. But I mean, I also love I love writing books too, and even if you write a screenplay, there's so many cooks in the kitchen. You're not responsible for the whole meal, and I think there's a kind of a beauty to that, like you're saying with books, as you're the only chef, and it's up to you to really completely paint the whole picture that you want to paint. Whereas with movies, sometimes because of budget cuts or whatever, it's not always the exact vision that you want to bring to life.
I was talking to someone the other day who's in pre-production on something, and they were just like, it's the worst because it's literally 2 months of being like, oh, we were going to shoot this, but now we have to rewrite it to be this because we lost money to do that.
Right.
It's this whole period of time where you're just waiting to go make a movie while you change the movie beforehand.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I think of all the budget things I had to cut for Struck by Lightning, I think people who really like that movie would be shocked to know what else was supposed to be in it. But they'll never know.
As a creative person who is also an author, did you ever find yourself on Glee really protective of your character with the writers? Did you want to work with the writer? I know you wrote an episode, but did you, before that, were you even kind of trying to work with the writers or talk with the writers as an author yourself? Constantly,
but it was in the sense of Glee, I was very much a passenger on that bus, but more of a creative conversation. It was the conversation about actually being a young gay kid in this world. And many times there are things that come up that I was ecstatic about or unhappy with because I didn't think it really fit, today's young mindset. So I was very, very protective of that stuff. Those were conversations I had, whether they wanted to hear it or not.
Did you ever find, coming from Glee, playing a young gay man, being an openly gay man, is a political act whether you want it to be or not, especially at the time that Glee was coming out. It's pre-legalization of gay marriage in the States. So you are sort of a political piece, whether you want to be or not at that point. Do you ever find when you were writing these Land of Stories books that it's sort of, they are apolitical, they are not addressing really any issues, they are a positive escapism. I think, as you said, that was your intention for any kid who may be struggling at a young age. Do you ever find yourself struggling as a writer to not sort of impose or have any of those sort of elements of your life and your story in those books at all?
I don't know if I struggle with it because I'm pretty stubborn about it. I think I never want to in my books ever be a preacher. I think I try to write about common good and common decency and there are a lot of issues that I could choose to write about in the Land of Stories, but I think they mirror the real world too much, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the escapism that I was talking about. I definitely try to slip in things here and there, like in the Mother Goose Diaries, I wrote about her standing up for women's rights and marching with Martin Luther King and then standing up for marriage equality and I really love kind of introducing topics like that to kids in that kind of light, so kids can really see that the battles that we are fighting today are very much the battles that we were fighting 60, 70 years ago.
It's interesting to subvert fairy tales in that way, because so often fairy tales are considered these sort of antiquated ideas of how we construct ourselves socially with other people, especially in regards to men and women. You think of Cinderella, you think of a number of other fairy tales where the male is the prince, is the savior of the woman, and all of those things. So for, I think, someone who is coming from a very political place personally, political is such a bad word in regards to this, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, more progressive than
progressive,
anything.
yeah. Political sounds like you're trying to be something, but I just mean in the sense of the way that the world works, you end up sort of being that.
Right.
That you end up sort of subverting these old fairy tales that have come in many ways to represent something antiquated.
Right, and it's interesting because so many fairy tales have such stigmas to them that the fairy tales never invented themselves. Like the whole thing about Cinderella needing a man to save her, that was something that we did, our generation did through movies and whatnot. That was not what the story was really about when the Brothers Grimm told it. There's so many wacky things of people getting their eyes pecked out by birds and getting their feet cut off. We're the ones who really put like I hate to say the sexism into it. So
Disney probably.
Yeah. Well, not me. He said that.
Oh, sorry.
But they've made up for it.
My bad. Sorry.
Never gonna be Pinocchio. Damn it. No, but it's really fun to kind of reintroduce those stories as they were originally told, and to have a young girl in the Land of Stories, Alex, the lead, say like when she looks at Cinderella, she doesn't think it's about a man saving a woman. She sees it as a story about karma.
I'm going to open up to the audience for questions. Does anyone have any questions out here in the audience?
Hi, I was wondering if you have any pre-writing rituals that you do to help you get in the zone before you start a new chapter or a new book.
Great question.
I pet my cat for 45 minutes. Not really. No, I think if I have one gift when it comes to creativity, I'm very fortunate where anything that I'm about to write, I kind of see almost like a movie trailer in my head. And then when I sit down at the computer, it's just a matter of connecting those images with words. I think images are so important when you're writing. So I Google image searching and a lot of music I listen to inspire me. But yeah, I think it's more inspiration before than rituals when I write.
Next question. Hi.
Hi. Sorry. So you just got the Snapchat. I was wondering. I'm really excited about it. I was wondering what your favorite Snap filter was.
Oh God. I love the old lady. You know I might have lip synced to the Golden Girls theme song a couple times and sent that out to a few of my friends. That was fun.
Next question.
Hi. Hi again. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm like, I know you're writing or already done with your next book, Stranger Than Fanfiction, and which I think we're really excited about. But if nobody knows, I'm plugging it. So
Thank you.
It's about this celebrity that goes on a road trip with 4 other fans. But anyway.
Hashtag.
Hashtag. But where did you get your inspiration for these fans? Like, did you go to Twitter or fans you've met?
No, I think there are 4 of them. There are 4 fans, and they are all voices that I think the YA world needs more of. There will be a trans character. There will be a character who's a brother of someone with special needs that I have experience with. There will be the kid that is in the closet, and then there'll be the girl that's too smart for her own good. You know, and very much like the whole reason why I wrote about Struck by Lightning was because I just didn't see a kid like me in the young teen world. And so I would like to kind of continue that with this book.
Next question.
Hi. Hi. I absolutely love all of the books. Like, I'm really excited to read this one. I was just wondering which one was your favorite book to write?
Oh my gosh, maybe this one actually. I had a lot of fun with this one because I got to write about writing, which was fun because it's such a crazy, unpredictable process. I love that when Connor goes into his own stories, which you guys will find out if you read the book, he learns that he's a really bad speller. So he thinks something's going to be one way, and then he gets into the story and realizes, oh no, I spelled it wrong, so it's completely different. And that was always a frustration for me was sometimes I think sometimes something would get published and I would have spelt it wrong, and then I'm like, crap, I have to change the plot now because of a typo. And there's a part in the book when he has an argument with a typo. Like he's like, I'm arguing with a typo. So I hope you enjoy it.
Is the Dalai Lama, is that from one of your original stories as well?
No, I just came up with that now. I thought that was funny.
It is funny. Next question.
Hi. How do you feel, or did you expect, how does it make you feel that the Land of Stories has been brought into the classrooms and so many people are using it, so many teachers, and it's become so big in the classroom, inspiring all children, a whole generation?
It's the best feeling I've ever had in my whole life, honestly.
Big?
No, of course not. No, I thought maybe I would write it and maybe 1,000 people would read it, and I thought maybe if I was really, really lucky, I'd make it to the New York Times bestseller list, so I'd have that title to my resume. But I never thought in a million years that it would do what it's done and what it's become and no, but it is. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah, thank you so much.
I think we have time for 2 more questions. Next question.
Hi, Chris. Over here.
Marco.
Over all the way.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Your books are my sister's favorite, and she wanted to know if they got made into a movie, who would you cast as Connor and Alex?
Oh, oh gosh. Well, I would say Meryl Streep, but that's ridiculous.
She can play anything.
Oh, she can. Oh, she's. I mean,
play
she
both
can
of them.
levitate. She can do anything.
Play Alex and Connor same time.
Right, at the same time. What's funny is I really want Alex and Connor if the movie happens and it's getting close. It's getting really close. Thanks. But I really want to find like unknowns to play Alex and Connor, so that when the kids go in the movie theater, they really feel like they are having adventures with kids that are just like them, and not a kid from that TV show or this TV show. But it's really funny because every time I picture someone to play another one of those parts, like Jack and Goldilocks, they end up becoming this huge successful like Oscar-winning person. So I have to stop myself because I want people to be available.
Like who? Do you have any?
Well, I wanted Jennifer Lawrence to be Goldilocks so bad. That's not gonna happen. Oh my God, I wanted Sam. Oh, I'm gonna butcher his last name. Sam Claflin from Hunger Games. How do you say his name? Yes, I wanted him to be Jack. That's not going to happen, you know. So yeah, I wanted Lily James to be Red from Downton Abbey and Cinderella, and that's not going to happen now. Oh gosh, I wanted Kate Blanchett to be the evil queen so bad. Then she had to be the evil stepmother. But there's still plenty of fun people.
Last question right here.
Hi there. Would you ever consider going to Broadway or writing a Broadway show?
Of course, yeah. I annoy my friends endlessly because I think I'm gonna actually write myself a play one day, and I think it'll be fun. Someday. I'm a little busy right now, but definitely. I think definitely. Hope to see you guys there.
Chris, when does the book come out?
Today.
The book's out today?
Today, yeah.
You're all going to go buy a copy, I'm imagining. And when does AbFab come out?
July 22nd.
Congratulations, Chris. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.